How you guys doing today? My name is Jason, and I'm with Tuna Tech. And today, I've got a classic video I've done the last 2 or 3 years from a company that I'm pretty excited to show you guys, but you'll have to stand by and check it out. All right, so every year there's companies that release gaming phones, and I've never been on the bandwagon of game phones. It's kind of a niche product and they don't sell very well. I would imagine companies still produce them, so they do sell, but they're no iPhone, Samsung-esque phones. And a lot of these companies that make these gaming phones are more of your more obscure brands, and like Asus, while they're a big company, they're not really known widely for their phones. But there is a company called Nubia, and they've made a series of phones for a couple years now, well, actually more than a couple years, called the Redmagic line. And this is the newest iteration, the Redmagic 8. Now, before we get into this, one thing I want to tell you is this is a unique product because most gaming phones are gaming phones. And what I mean by that is, yes, they can play games, they're pretty powerful, but some of the common traits of a gaming phone are lots of RGBs, crazy styling, really crappy cameras, basically things you need just for gaming. But Redmagic took a little bit of a different approach and did some changes. Now, they have two versions of this phone, and one is a more toned down version, and one's a more flashy version. I bought the more toned down version, which happens to be the cheaper of the two, but we'll go over price later. But as you can see, this is the Redmagic 8 Pro. On the bottom it says Snapdragon Elite Gaming. On the side it says win more games, and that's about it. And on the box you just have your IMEI information and some stuff about you know, specs and stuff, but we're gonna go over that here in a second. So let's try to get this thing open here and see what it's all about. Now, Nubia is not new to the cell phone game in the West, or I should say the East, but here they're kind of a unknown brand, and a lot of the things I didn't like about these phones is that their software has always lagged, had some weird issues, because it's a Chinese company trying to bring it into the North American market. The way we use our phones can't be different from other countries, but their iterations of their software over the years have gotten much better. So is this any different? It's up to me. It's up to you guys if you want to see a review on that stuff. But we're going to open this and check it out. And hopefully you guys are... I'm excited about this. I love these kind of phones. It's not what you see from everybody else. It's something different. They're priced right. And I like to be different. So that's one of the reasons why you buy something like this. But as you can see, look at this packaging. I mean, you got some space cyborg guy. You see the Redmagic logo up here. On the side, you see more comic book-esque stuff. This is what I like about them. They go all in, packaging and all. And you can even see some more stuff on this side. But this is the gaming phone, right? Yes, and you do see this Stadia controller. I know Stadia is dead, but they live on in my heart, so we'll keep it like that. So we're gonna open the first box here, and in this box, hopefully, we have a case or something. A lot of these more obscure companies give you a basic case, which may not be great, but it's something better than nothing. Got your SIM ejection tool. You got some paperwork and a warranty card, which is interesting. And like I said, you guys, a very basic case. Now, what Nubia usually does with the Redmagic is, you can see there's no side support protection. It's just top, bottom, and back. It's clear. Now, this is a matte version of the phone, and it does have some RGB, but very toned down, so they want you to be able to see that. So there's some styling on the side here, with some, you know, some little etch marks, but it's a very basic case, but they include it. So if you want to find more of these, the problem with these smaller companies is Amazon, eBay. If you want to find cases, they're going to be coming from different countries usually. It's going to take longer to get in, or you can buy an official case directly from Redmagic's website. So this is the one it comes with, but they have some other options on the website. Check it out. I'll leave a link in the description to the phone and some of the accessories. Here's the phone. Oh, and that didn't work, did it? We're going to pop it out, and I'm going to move it off to the side here. So first thing you see here is Redmagic's QR codes to their Facebook, their global website, their TikTok account, and their Twitter account. So they do want people out there talking about their phones, getting the word out there. But what I'm going to show you next is something that you don't see often, and it's really sad these days that they don't offer this kind of stuff, but they got a gaming-esque, again, red cable, so it's racer red, or, you know, typical gaming, kind of flashy, but it seems like it's pretty good quality for a cable. And they include a charging brick, you guys. Now, what's interesting, I'm going to take off the screen here and just look at it real quick. But this is, from what I've been reading, this is actually an 80-watt charger. So not only are they throwing in a charger, they're throwing in a very, very fast charger. So that's nice to have in the box. So you got a cable, you got SIM ejection tool, a brick, cable, and obviously the phone and the case. Now, here is the phone. Just holding it right now before I take it out, it's pretty thick. It's not rounded, it's got hard edges, so it's a little bit of a unique phone here. So let's see if I can get this thing open here for you guys. So I'm gonna start from the back here, and you can already tell it's kind of, it feels plastic. It might be an aluminum. I'm not too sure. I'll have to look at the exact what it's made of. But either way, it's a matte finish, so you're not going to see a whole lot of fingerprint. You got 3 cameras, and this is one of the areas we'll talk about a little bit later that have been upgraded. And then there's this little symbol here that says Redmagic, and some of these little etch marks here. Those are where your RGB lights are going to be, so it's not super flashy like all over it. So there are some options in there. You can actually change that. On the side, you've got 2 capacitive trigger buttons. That's for gaming, so you can play and use it and, you know, map those. You got your Redmagic gaming toggle, so you switch it, so it goes into its game mode, so you can, you know, utilize its processing power and, you know, stop notifications. You got your power button. You got an inlet or outlet for the fan. There is still a fan inside this. It does have a little fan that spins and keeps it cool. But you don't see it as much if you get the other version. You can get a version where you see it. There's the inlet or outlet again, and here's your volume up and down. On the bottom, you got your speaker, your SIM ejection, a microphone, it's not SIM ejection, your SIM tray, and a USB Type-C. And on top, another relic from the past, your headphone jack, and another speaker hole. So again, and if you notice something, there's no cutout for the camera. And let me pull it off the side here. It does have a pre-installed screen protector too, which is very nice. So it does have an under-display selfie camera. So you're already going to know, even if this is generation 2, 3, 4, picture quality in the selfie camera is not going to be that good. It might be okay and sufficient, but it's not going to be fantastic. And same with the back, but they have made some updates. So while we're talking about that, I'm going to throw this little clear case down here and set it on here so I don't scratch the phone itself. So this is a metal middle frame with a glass rear cover. So the back is glass, and so is the front. It is Gorilla Glass. I don't know which one it is, doesn't really specify. They have 2 colors. This is the matte. It's 12 gig of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. And then the Void, which has got more of a clear top, and you can see the fan, a little bit more RGB, a little more gamer-esque. That is 16 gigs of RAM with 512 gigabytes of storage. It's LPDDR5X and UFS storage 4.0. So you already know right there it's going to be fast. It's a 6.8-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED 1116 by 2480 pixels. It's got a refresh rate of up to 120 Hertz. It's got a touch sampling rate of 960 Hertz. And it's a 20:9 aspect ratio with 1300 nits of max brightness. So it's going to be a pretty bright phone, and it's going to be pretty nice and quick. For cooling, they did introduce, I'm going to power it on while we're sitting here. They did talk about a 20,000 RPM high-speed turbofan with cooling air duct. It said they tested it for 3,000 hours or 30,000 hours. They introduced an ICE 11 multi-dimensional cooling system. So they have aircraft-grade aluminum alloy. They have super soft, high heat conductivity rare earth graphene under the screen, composite graphene, copper foil under the screen, super thermal conductivity copper foil, and a high thermal conductivity gel. So all that means is They're really focused on cooling. But with this new processor that's in this, which will lead to that next, is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Early reports already indicate that this 8 Gen 2 is not only a beast for graphics and speed, but it's also a very cool running chip at very little throttles, but it's also very efficient. So in addition to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, they also introduced the Red Core 2 chip, which is more of a gaming chip. It says here from their website, it precisely dispatches shoulder keys, vibration, touch, sound, and other control links to achieve a multi-layer immersive control experience. So kind of controls like your LED lights, your RGB lights, your extra buttons to kind of take the processing power onto that instead of using your Snapdragon. It's a dual SIM, Wi-Fi 7, so if you got you early adopters out there that have Wi-Fi 7 will benefit from that. Bluetooth 5.3, it does have NFC. Not sure if it's going to support Google Pay. I've been reading that it does not, but we'll get there. And we can also be updated with software. Now, it does have HDMI out, so with this USB Type-C on the bottom, you can actually hook it up to a TV, and there's a gamer mode, and it actually has a console mode. So when you hook up to a large screen TV and you pair it with a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse and or a controller, you can actually play full screen games, and it acts as if you had a console gaming unit. So that's interesting. Now for the rear cameras, this is another thing that's been updated. So you have 3 cameras that you see. The first main camera is a Samsung GN5 sensor. It's a 50 megapixel camera, so that's a new one. That should produce acceptable pictures for the average user and who's going to be buying this phone. It's got an 8 megapixel wide and a 2 megapixel macro. So in my personal preference, the 50 megapixel is fine. I would have liked a 12 or 16 megapixel wide, and I could have done without the macro. I'm not asking for zoom for a gaming phone, but the macro seems like let's just throw another camera in there so we have 3. But either way, it's there. On the front, we talked about that, and you can see right here, you guys, there is no picture cutout. So it's underneath here. It's hard to see. That's a 16 megapixel second generation under display camera. For software, it's running Redmagic OS 6.0 based on Android 13. It's got a 6,000 milliamp hour dual cell battery, and it does support quick charging. It says 65 watts. Maybe that's all this is in the US. So I looked at the side of this. I didn't really see much, but it does say it's 65 watts. But it might support up to more of that. It just depends on, what I'll have to check it myself and just double check. But it says on their spec sheets that it's a 65 watt charging, and then the 65 watt charger is included. Special functions. It's got the shoulder trigger buttons that have 520 hertz touch sampling. It's got the game space switch. That's that red switch on the side I showed you guys. When you click that, it takes you into the game space, which gives you more options to, map certain keys to certain controllers and so on and so forth. It's got RGB lights, fully customizable lighting effects. In the box, we talked about clear case, power adapter, Type-C adapter. Now, here is the kicker. The Samsung S23 Ultra was released $11.99. Beautiful phone, fantastic. It'll get great support, and it's a good phone. It really is. This came out. Another phone was recently announced, the OnePlus 11. This does not really compare to the Samsung. It really more compares to the OnePlus, and here's why I say that. The OnePlus 11's got very similar specs. It's not really gamer focused. It might have better cameras, but here's where they are equal. The OnePlus 11 starts at $699 for 8 gigs of RAM and $799 for 16 gigs of RAM. I believe maybe it's 12 gigs of RAM for $699, but either way, they have 2 versions, $699 and $799. This matte version, which I actually like better than the Void, you can go to the website and check them out. This comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, and $649 USD. So $650 gets you a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and the 16 gigabyte is $799. So if I was going to buy one, it'd be the matte 12 gig, because $649 is a steal. And if you were an early adopter and pre-ordered it, they did have this thing where you pay $1, they gave you a $30 or $20 coupon, so you could have got it even cheaper. So this is the Redmagic 8 Pro. And as you can see, it's a hefty vise. It's got squared off edges and it's heavy in the hand. But that's not a bad thing, you know. That's actually substantial. So that's all I want to do, you guys. I wanted to give you a quick look at what this is, what it does. I'm going to throw a SIM card in this and I'm going to play with it. If you guys want a full review or more information, leave a comment. Let me know. I am more happy to do a review. I don't do a whole lot of reviews because a lot of people don't like them from me. But if you are interested, I can do my best. Use it for a couple weeks and let you know what I think. But this is the Redmagic 8 Pro, 12 gigabyte, 256 gigabyte, $649 USD. Thanks for watching.